All right, hey everyone, I am back streaming. So we're working through some code and doing some more learning about TanStack Start. I think is what I'm going to be working on tonight. Just walking through all the stuff that I still don't know about it quite yet. I didn't pull up the docs. I'll pull up the docs in a second. But last time, just a couple of days ago, I was working on a new weather app, just something easy to show off how TanStack Start works and then not really focus on design or anything. So I've got that and we're just continuing on with that, but really I'm just here hang out to code, to do some stuff, and to learn new software. So learning is important. Keep doing it. But we've got on the left here is all of our code. I still have this console log. I don't really need that, but I'm going to keep it there because we're going to refactor a few things here because I'm using this server function up here. First of all, let me go into my prettier and set this to like 50 instead. Then where were we? Index. WebStorm, hold on. Run on save, so that should be working. This stuff drives me crazy. Let's just try it. All right, so it's still trying to take from my, so let's set this to 60. So this then, because I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing as well. Hard wrap should be here. We'll do 60. I promise this was working just a few seconds ago. But all right. Jeez, this drives me crazy. Because you can see the wrap line is right there, and it's supposed to wrap. Hard wrap, wrap on typing. And then we've got prettier doing prettier things. Let's do reformat code. Because the problem is you're not going to be able to see all this. And if I zoom out, you still won't be able to see all of it. So making my life harder. So let's do that there, that there. Okay, can't do that. Great, so we'll let that do its thing. And if I need to zoom out and look at other code, I can. But regardless, this doesn't need to be a server function. So what we need to do is we're actually going to do a new function, which will be get location data. And location data is going to be this first part. So it's going to be an async function too. And, oh, this needs to be async function. Async function will grab location all the way down to our response, and we're going to return all of this actually. So let's put all that there, and we'll return, it says location data. Okay, yep, return our awaited location data, which I don't think we actually need to do. JSON. Yes, we should do that. All right, so now that means we have this loader down here, and the loader is going to return, I have to remember what this is. Well, first we can work on this second one first. So we'll have another async function that will be called get weather data, and that's going to have, or that's going to take our location data we'll work on the type in a second. Or actually, what we should just do is to get the latitude and longitude. So lat long, just trying to infer the types, but these are going to be numbers. So then we can get all of this stuff. Get rid of view. Oh, that should be good. Get rid of fetch location data. And now we can do get weather data. And that's going to need our latitude and longitude, which we'll get from, so we need to pull out constant lat long, not from route tree, from get location data. And then we should be able to pass in lat long here. Wait. We refresh. Time is undefined. Cannot destructure property of time. All right, so now we can log and figure out what I'm missing. So we can log our location data. And that gets us that. So let's await the location data so we can actually see what we're getting. Location data, JSON. And that's going to be our results. So that tells me here that I didn't do this part right. So we'll have our latitude and longitude, and we are looking for that for our numbers, but we still need to pass them in from here. So we can just set this to be location data. Then underneath that, we can get from our location data results. I think that's going to be right. We will see here in a second. So I'll log the results. Let's get rid of this log up here. We're just really seeing how the data is getting passed through. Location data JSON here is not a function, so we should just be getting our results. There we go. So lat is not defined, and that's because we're going to get our first location data results here, then we can get lat long from location data and pass those in. Oh, from results. We should actually do that there. Okay. So it's still coming through undefined, so let's log results and see what we get. Then, oh, latitude, longitude. I was using the wrong name, longitude. There we go. All right, so now we're back to where we were at the beginning. So we have our weather array, which shows up here, and we have all of that. And now we have our loader function and two functions that are not server functions. These are type issues. Let's see what it's expecting. has an any type because the expression of type number can't be used to index type. So I think then, do we need to do a string value and do that? All right, so as I mentioned last time, not opposed to using AI, but I'm going to use it for stuff that I don't quite know what to do. So I'm going to ask it, not on auto mode. I'm getting this error, show me what to do. So it's a type error, no index signature. This is just me not knowing TypeScript. I can't know everything about it. So let's take a look. Because next up, we're going to adjust a few things, but I don't want to adjust anything while we have some errors here. Oh, I also want to add shadcn, so let's go ahead and do that while I am at it. So we have, this is just, was messing with it before. Claude is trying to do it for me. And I'm going to tell it to show me instead. So we wrote our icon map. A type are only those exact numbers. And okay, so it needs to be the type of, okay. So I understand, and I should have known better. So our constant here, name map, will do so let's fix this. So here we can do a record, which needs to be a number, and this needs to be a React node. So that's one error gone, and then here, this needs to be a record. Oops. Doing everything wrong. So record, which will be a number and a string. So there we go. No type errors. So we'll leave it as that. Oh, I still need the terminal. So I'm going to open the terminal back up. We're going to go away from my friend Claude, and we're going to open a new terminal, and we're just going to steal this preset so I can get the code. And we will use pnpm, and we'll add shadcn. All right, so there's this weirdness where there's an error when you have an existing project. Usually, I guess, I don't actually know. So we created the project, and we need to still initialize it. So let's go ahead and run that real quick. We're going to use base UI. I don't remember, which one did I use? This was Sarah. All right, so I remember reading about this. All right, so I didn't do the add-on, so that's fine. Now I'm getting this error here. And one thing Claude is good at is reading errors. So I'm going to have him figure that out. And the plan is for this, the home page is just going to be a search bar. So I'm going to add a search bar that allows me to look for a city. Now, I'm using OpenMedio, which has docs that I can use. And I'm going to get the weather code and the temperature. So I want to do both, and we'll figure out how to handle that later. And so what we're also going to do is get SQLite 3, and then I forget, there's a package, I think it's Better SQLite. Yes, Better SQLite 3. And I'm going to use that to persist things like favorites and recents. So I'm going to have a recent table, but we'll come back to that. We'll do one thing at a time. So the first thing is getting our shadcn working. So I have components instead of having to make my own. So add the alias to tsconfig. So since we did this by scratch, there's just some stuff missing, which is fine. So we have JSX all the way through strict null checks. Then we need our base URL. Oh, so we just need to add the paths. Okay. This makes sense. I understand now. Okay. Source, and then all routes. So I just didn't have the alias path set up correctly, so now I do. Now I have to have Vite do it as well. So this is over in the Vite config. Then I have tsconfig paths. Okay, I guess I have to do that up here. So we have tsconfig paths. This isn't in there though. Now we have to install the plugin. Okay. So we're just setting up the necessary plugin for our config path. So our paths that we set up over here in our tsconfig to be read by Vite itself. So now that is done, we should be able to do our preset, and it looks like we can. Perfect. So that's done. Now we can come over. That did some stuff. Okay, so let's come over. So we have some components. The button is there for us. Oh, I forgot that I wanted to add one thing because I like, so we have button variants. I want to actually, let's see what happens, because in here, if I get code, I wanted to use pointer. So if I copy this command and redo it, yes, I would like to overwrite it. Yes, all that's fine. Because what I want to use the pointer on the buttons. I don't know if I'll have a couple of buttons, but regardless, I don't like not having the pointer. It just makes more sense to me. I know it's not actually the true behavior of a button, but whatever, I don't really care. All right, so this overrode written did something to all my styles. So let's see, it didn't change my code though. So let me see what's up with that. What happened to my... Oh, I wonder if it actually did something in my styles. It did. All right. So it did a lot of stuff. So shadcn overwrote all of my initial... Wait a second. Tailwind styles, how can I get them back? Why type when you can talk? So that makes life quite easy. But now I can... I don't want to roll back a git. I just want to make sure that I can still use Tailwind with shadcn. So Claude was trying to roll back to a previous commit, but that's unnecessary. I want to use both. I just want to make sure I can do both. It's layered in. You can keep using these before. All right, so if I go over here and, oh, maybe my colors just got deleted. So if I go to my root, no, it's still there. In my root file, the BG slate and text slate styles don't appear to be applying. So troubleshooting shadcn and Tailwind with TanStack Start. Gotta love it. So we can start looking at a few components to see what's available to us. The one that probably makes sense for our weather cards, though, is going to be cards. So we'll start with that. Ooh, spacing. All right. So all right. Got it. All right. So let's just move this from HTML to our body and see if that fixed it. Yes, by Fallout Boy. I'm trying to get a little bit more creative with my titles because honestly, live streams aren't great for discoverability, but this does help me learn to code and talk as I code. So who cares about the title? I'm here to yap. All right, so we have our colors back. Now let's add some cards. So over here, oh, I don't need this right now, but what I can do, I'm going to use this card and we're going to add this card. And then for every list that we have here, why do I have this inside? This should be outside. All right, so right now I'm just messing with a weather API, you know, the classic learn to code with like data and stuff. So right now I'm working with all of this data here. This is from OpenMedio. So this is all the weather codes. So transferring weather codes into icons and all that stuff, working with time, all of that. So learning TanStack Start and how it actually works, learning shadcn because why not, and then Tailwind I already know. So here then, one thing that I did do is with TanStack Start, so I've been working with Next.js for a long time, so I've got like the server first mentality going on and like the caching first mentality, and that's really kind of the opposite of what TanStack Start is. So I started this with like the API call being a server function, which just didn't make sense because I don't have any, like, there was no environment variables. It doesn't have an API key. It's an open API. So I was just using a server function for no reason. So I was able to move it out, and so it's just a little refactor at the beginning here. All right. So that came in by accident, and I don't need that anymore. All right, so little weather app coming along very nicely. So now let's find our list items here. And these should be a card. Did that come in from my components? It did. All right, so now we've got our card. And let's take a look at what we have. So I don't want to do it that way. So let's take out this bottom right quarter, top left quarter, top right quarter. I know my left and right. All right, so we've got card content. Probably be wrapping around this card content. Cool. Then we'll have card header up here. Well, wait, this is, yeah, so card header. And then this would be something like probably card description. Cool. So then I might be able to, let's see what things start looking like as I remove. All right, and then we have these spans. So we could do this as card title. And actually that doesn't really make sense. So let's do this as card title. Move you up. And honestly, they both work. So we're okay there, but the colors are off, and that's because I'm overwriting them here. So let's go ahead and move you. All right, so also we can remove all of this. I want the rounded still, so we'll get rid of padding because padding is added. The border, so it's interesting that this white is coming in. Let's go ahead and, so BG is fine, border white is fine. Why? Oh, okay. So then what we should actually do is text white, and then maybe like 80% and 90%. So that's cool. I would love it if this would wrap like it's supposed to, because this is getting really hard to see. So these flex and align middle, do I need that? No. So we can get rid of that. Justify center maybe too. Get rid of the gap and the flex call. All right, so just seeing what we can get rid of here. So do I need border? I do need border. And I don't need padding 4. I thought I got rid of that. All right, so that's our card. Let's get rid of the flex here as well. Nope, keep the flex. And then I can do flex column. Nah. Justify center. And then down here we can do class name, text center, and then do text white and do like 60%. So it's a little distinct. All right, so then let's go ahead and add that gap 4 in here. Not what I thought was going to happen, but what if we do justify between instead? Okay, that looks good to me. Let's flip them again, because I think the icon makes more sense on the other side. Yep, there we go. Maybe gap 2 here, and then between the card content, class name. No, let's do flex call. There we go. So a little bit more space, feels a little bit better. At least I think so. So we've got our cards that came in from shadcin instead of my own stuff. I don't know. I have card header, I think, but I don't know if I need card header. Card title, description, action. Because this is actually, maybe this should be card description instead. Oh no. So card title, so that looks pretty good. I'm okay with that, except that starts to wrap a little bit. So maybe we switch this to grid calls too. No. Like this just looks fine. And then I've got gap 4 here. Nope, we need that. So gap 2, we'll keep it 4. Okay, then I don't want flex wrap though. So I want to fix this, but I have other things to worry about first. All right, so that is our component here. We've got our header and then a list as well. So unless there's a card container, but I don't think there is. So we've got our card. All that looks good. Now I think we can move on to not just having New York here. So this is going to be the fun part. So next up, instead of this posts here, we're going to do we're going to rename this to be weather, and I think I can name it like this, city. And then if I go to localhost weather, and we'll say London, nothing's going to change except this says all of this stuff still. Hello weather city. And then I should be able to do the params from here. So this part, I might need some look at some other stuff I've been doing. So let me pull that up really quickly. All right, so we've got our city. All right, so this is, let me make sure it's in the right place. So we have our source, our route, our weather city.tsx. Then create file route city. Because I just want to use what's in the slug. And so instead of a struggling, if I want to render city from the slug, can I do that? I think it's in, I know it's somewhere in what we can get. So I believe from use params. Okay, that, you know, that makes sense. All right, so all that looks good. Const city route use params, and then I can switch this to be city. If I did it right. There you go. So we see London. I don't need that though. Which means I don't need this either. I know how to do interpolation. That's fine. Okay. So what I'll want to do then is have a way for us to search London and get the weather for London by going to this page. The problem is right now I have under all of this, let's just collapse this. These are maps that don't really matter. Well, they do matter. They do the things. But right now I'm getting the location from like a hard-coded value. So if I go back to the home page here, this is just the weather in New York, New York. So not very helpful for when I want to do other things. That means we need, well, first let's just work on what we know we need. So at the top here, below our weather app, which we can do something a little bit larger, what, 6XL? There we go. Then we're going to come down here and get a search component, or input rather, using base UI. Let's see if there's a specific search component though. Components, at least something a little bit more appropriate for what I am trying to do. Select search switch. Doesn't look like it, so I think we're going with input. That's fine. So, whoops. I'll go ahead and get not input group. I just need single input. So, get that, get this, paste in. And then here we'll have our div to get our input. And then we'll do a placeholder, weather. Okay, so find location. This div, do a container, sure, but then also, let's do, instead of that, we'll do margin bottom of like 8 here. Yeah, give it some space. And then MX auto, there we go. That's how you center a div. So we've got our find location, but on this page, we want to do a button. Here we go. Which means I also need to do field. And around this input, we're going to add a field. Within the field, this will be type search, placeholder, find location's fine, and then underneath this we'll do a button from our components, and we'll add search. Okay. But I want the field to be orientation of horizontal, which will put it side by side, and that looks fine there. But it doesn't seem to be catching that I'm in dark mode right now. So, or it is, and I just can't see very well. So we can fix this up. So we can search. In the button, we'll need a couple of things. So we'll do a class name. I don't need any of that. I want BG. We'll do Amber. No. Well, yeah, because I can do text slate 900. I don't really like that Amber. It's a little too bright, and that's a little too orange. So what if I did just slate 500? It's a little bit better, 200. There we go. So let's do rounded, large. That feels good. And I've got, so maybe I do variant instead. What variants are available? Let's just do outline. So cool. So we've got our little outline there. Looks great. Ready to go. Okay, so we have our search, but of course the search isn't going to do anything yet because I have to tell it what to do. So we'll come back to that. We should actually, we need then, so when we search, I want to return every, or not every, but like the geo coding here. So let's go with this. So there's going to be a geocoding API. So we'll go to that, and that will get us our like some locations. And it's here that we're going to return some information. So what we're going to do is change this. So I have the city name, and I only have a count of 1. So let's set it to 10. And I will get the log of location data JSON, and we'll await that because we're going to get quite a few New Yorks back, I think. Yep, so we have a bunch of New Yorks here. But the most populous one is the one that's going to come back, and that's the one in the United States, of course. But there's a York, Chicago. Some of these, you know, don't really... Oh, okay, I understand. So we have New York, which is the exact match. Then we'll have York, which we'll have in United States, Nebraska, York, City of York. And then United States, there's Florence and Indiana, Switzerland, New York Township. So a bunch of stuff here. Postal codes, etc. So what we'll need to do is for our get location data is we're still going to pass it here, but what if we do, I wonder if I can do this. Return, we'll get this. Nope, can't do it that way. But instead of, maybe I'll do it this way. Return this, and then we do want to get our, get location data. Just as we're starting to refactor this, I want to be able to do both at the same time. So use loader data. Weather array. I want to keep using weather array. So raw. Weather array raw, and then we're going to take the first index here. And weather array. That brings everything back. So now I have 2 things coming back from the loader. I want to be able to use the first thing from the array, which is that. But now we have our location array. So we're going to have our location array, which is going to be, this actually should just be data. Where am I? All right, so location array is data 1. And so now underneath our search, we're going to have another unordered list. And this is going to this shouldn't have this shouldn't be any. This should be our type up here of hourly weather. But we're going to set this at the module, I believe. put our types at the top. Make sure we import, I don't want to import everything from React. Let's just do import React from React. Okay. Everything still looks good. We have our weather data back. I wonder if this is actually necessary. It is. So still good. Then we have our location array, which I don't know what the whole data I'm going to get back from it is. I mean, I do just because I know like the response, but I should set up a type for it. So we'll go to our geocoding because we're going to get a few things out of it that I actually do want. So we'll get our results. Location props, or not props, location type, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Then I do want to get our ID, which I don't need to do that way. ID will be number. That is actually right. We'll have a name, it's a string, latitude number, longitude number. Don't really care about elevation. We'll get our feature code, which will be a string. I don't know what that is, but we'll find out. Country code, which is also a string. We'll get the time zone because I think that'll be important. Don't really need population. And then there's these admin things. Well, we definitely need beneath or above country. We'll just get country, which will also be a string. Time zone postcodes don't matter to me. And then I don't know what these admin ones are. Unique IDs for administrative name of hierarchical administrative. Okay, so this is like locale. That makes sense. So this is the city, nothing here. But then there's the city and street, I guess. So like the county, etc. So if I were to do something instead of Berlin and we did something like, let's do like Dallas. So if we do Dallas, we have, so admin 1 is the state, admin 2 is the actual city, then there's like the township, and then doesn't look like there's anything else here, but that's where the county would be as well. So we have Dallas. This is weird. All right, so maybe this is, oh, this is the county here. All right, so we're figuring this out. So state, county, oh, county or city, and then anything beyond that. All right, so we'll use this as an example moving forward. But I don't think we get like the flag that they have, which is fine. I'm not too worried about that. All right, but regardless, so we have our type, and I want to send over our results instead of our JSON here. That way we're just getting all the results all together. So results, that's not how that works. Then we can return results. So still, that shouldn't break anything once I remove our results 0 here. But it does indeed. So something going on here. What are we getting? So we get our location data. Oh, here we go. We have other logs going on here. Oh, no. Just the one. All right. Oh, okay. So I'm just trying to think of how not to break things too much as I keep going. The only way I can think of how to do this would be to, because for the loader, oh, well, let's do it this way. So we can do results 0 here. But then I'm sending through the results. So I just need location data 0. There we go. All right, overthought that by a little bit. All right, so that's okay for now, because I'm also sending through get location data as its own function again. So it's being handled up here, but then also we're getting it here in the second, and then underneath our search, let's back out just a hair here, go to like 17. We'll have a div. That was actually a good suggestion. And then in this div, we'll have an unordered list, which I already had down here, which will have the same stuff here, grid. No, I don't want grid. I actually want this to be, we'll see how this comes through. So we'll have, I don't necessarily want this to be like a table, but location, I don't know how I'm getting. All right, so that works out actually really well. Okay. All right, so we'll figure out this in just a little bit. So I don't want that. I'm not going to use the index for the key because that's not good. So we don't necessarily want a table, and I won't use a table. We'll come back to it in a second. So we have our location, and our location array is going to be an array of our location type, which does have an ID, so that's good, and does have a name. All right, so we want to do location ID. All right, that was weird. So we have our location name. And then underneath location name, we can do location country. And we'll do country code. And then to make it even, because there's a bunch of different New Yorks here. So if I'm looking at this data here, we'll have like, so let's pull in New York just to make it one-to-one here, apples to apples. I don't know if we want to pull in, oh yeah, hold on. So here it says US, and then these two New Yorks are US as well, but here I see New York, England. So do we do country instead? So why is that coming through as United States? Let's do also location, time zone. So all that's right, minus these here. I should have state 2, and that should be under admin 1. So let's go ahead and do that. Location admin 1, which I don't have as a type, but that'll come through. Okay, that makes more sense because there's not going to be a New York, New York, New York. So let's do admin 1, which will be a string. All right. So we got some stuff going. Now, how do we want to style this? So first of all, do margin top of like 4. That should be fine. And then we can do the forecast changed. That's cool. All right, so I definitely need to figure out how to make this a little bit more flexible, and it's probably going to end up being flex. Honestly, this is actually not a great way to display weather data anyway, so we're going to redo all of that in just a few moments. All right, so now if we look over into our docs here, maybe a table is the right way to display this. So top right quarter. Well, let's see what else they have. Card, collapsible, combo box, not quite right. Data table, picker, drawer, no. It's a KBD. I think I know this. Keyboard, yeah. Direction, menu bar, no. Table, yeah, I guess this makes sense. But it doesn't. Oh, I guess it does, because I can do city, state, country, time zone. But there's this other table in here, which data table. Without all of that could work. I know tables are pretty hairy to design, so I don't want to get too far into that. I won't do anything with pagination. Would you just show me a table, please? Because this is not it for me. So data table is probably not right. So let's go ahead and just do a regular table then. It'll just be easier than trying to do my own. So let's go ahead and do a table. Let's add the table. All right, so in here, we'll need to change this to be a table from our components. This can be our, no, let's leave that how it is, and we'll do a table caption, location results. Want that to be at the top, but I guess it makes sense that it's at the bottom. All right, so then we have our table header, the table row, and then a bunch of table head. So we'll do table head. All right, and so here we need city, state, country, and then I don't really want to keep the time zone, so we're going to remove that. So I'll get rid of you. That's city, state, country, perfect. And then that's the end of our table header. Now we have our table body. And here we have table row. And we can do table cells here. So we'll do table cell. That can be location, name, country. Don't want to do it again. That's fine. I'll do it myself. Admin 1, Oh, that should actually be admin 1 here. And this should be country. There we go. These are our results. And that looks pretty good. So we'll max out at 10 results anyway. And these will all be links, but for now this will be fine. I do want to do like a hover there. So yeah, he doesn't do anything special here. Oh, we can use the table footer. That's cool. Class name, text right, font medium. Like there's nothing causing the hover state there. Oh, I just didn't have it on right. Okay. I wasn't selected in. No biggie. All right. So all of these will be links. So we could just do that now. We do a link from React Router. Oh, each row. I want this. Let's do, can we do, I assume I can do it this way. I really don't know, because can Link have multiple children like that? I suppose it can. But I guess this actually needs to be outside the table row. Perhaps still, I don't know if this is going to work, so we're going to give it a shot. That's still not quite right. Key, location ID. All right, so go ahead and remove all of that. Because the only way then that I think I could do this would be to do it this way. Weird. Oh, I guess, well, it doesn't work that way. Okay, so I can do weather. Man. Okay. So, yeah, because that's, I want it to work for the whole row, but that might be something for later. I don't even have everything ready yet. Like the search isn't even working yet. Okay, one step at a time here. Let's get rid of that. We have our results showing up. So now if I were to switch this from New York to say London, I see London, Ohio. That wouldn't be the first thing that I expect to see. Where is, oh, US, that's why. If I get rid of country, I should be able to just get rid of all of that because I'm going to want all countries to show up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I don't really need to say 10 results, but we'll start with what we have here. All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of country here. I will leave this how it is. So next step is to get our button working. So we'll have a search component. I'm not quite sure how much I'll need to do for it, but we can start. So in our, excuse me, in our route component, we will have our navigate constant. We're going to use navigate just because it's TanStack related. And then we can use state. Let's go ahead and just do use state. And that will get and set our query, which will default to an empty string. Then we'll need a new function. We'll call it on submit. And we'll get our query and we'll trim it. We should also do to lowercase. I don't think I need to, but we'll trim it just in case there's anything on either the left or the right. If there is a query, we can navigate to I want to see if this works. I have my notes set up quite a bit different. So we'll do 2, and then we can do search Q. Promise return from navigate is ignored. Okay, hopefully we don't need it. All right, then on click here, we will do our on submit. I love I don't have to do like server and client component mumbo jumbo here. I can just do stuff. So now if I type in London and hit enter, or probably hit search, nothing shows up there. Let's just go ahead and set up to how I have it in my notes where I can do weather, which doesn't exist, so we'll see. All right, so, okay, so let's go ahead and create a new file, weather.tsx, add. So now that should be there. Do London, search. All right, so this navigate isn't doing anything. If you await navigate maybe. All right, so we're gonna bring in my best friend Claude again, because what I'm trying to do is we want to navigate to weather with our search params, how they are, such that they are. So let's see what we're seeing here. So this, so first let's make sure localhost weather, not London. So weather city should work. So I add this in and now it's overwriting my weather city. So does that mean I need to, let's go ahead and grab this. City. No. All right, so we have hello weather, weather, London, city. I don't think this is the problem, but I'm just gonna rename this to be, I'm not going to do that then, so we'll cancel that. So our search button, so if we go back to our index, our search button on submit. Oh, did I not set the query? Please hold. I didn't. Okay. That would be part of the problem, most likely. We'll see here in a second. So I'll do this. Let's go back to the home page and see if this works like I want it to. So we need to, in here, or in the input rather, on change, set our query to London and search. All right, so we get our query there now. Great. So on change, set query, yada yada, and that brings us to London. So I could also do, we'll see if this works properly, to weather. When we search, brings us to weather, and then we see London here. So now what we could do is move some of this logic over, because what we really need elsewhere, we don't need, on the home page, we don't need the weather array or the location array. So I'm going to go ahead and move this now over to weather. So we'll have, we could do, I don't really want to do like search results as a page. We still could. All right, so what we'll do is this should actually be its own component, but let's go ahead and just take all of this route component for now. So let's take all of this, bring it over to weather, replace that, and we're going to get rid of everything in here. We don't need our weather array. We will need this in a moment. And we'll come back to our index because we have some types at the top. All the way at the top. So we have our location type is what I'm looking for. Great. So we have our location type. Now, this isn't going to do anything. That's okay. We, in our weather, need a few things. So first, we have our create file. Oh, I understand what's happening. I think, so this is going to be index route. So if I do London now, we'll see in a second. Index create file route. I think there's just some conflicts going on, but we'll check it out in a second. So we will validate our search. So our search, S, is going to be string or unknown, or a record of string and unknown. Then we're going to get our Q, which is going to be a type of whatever our search query is. If it's a string, return the query. Otherwise, return an empty string. I guess I do this. Still don't have London, but that's okay. All right, then we can get our loader dependencies. And that will have our search. This is going to be a function. of our search queue. Get a comma there. Then we need our loader. So we got a loader. Async. We'll get our dependencies. Deps. Not a promise. Will be a constant of q. Deps q trim. So we're trimming up the constant, or the query that comes in. We'll get our results, and that will be if our length is greater than or equal to 2, and that's something from Medio, Open Medio itself. We need to get we need to export this function real quick. This one. Get location data, or an empty array. And this needs to actually accept something now, so we should come over here, get our query, which is going to be our city name. Because we're only going to accept the city. Still not found, but we're not quite ready yet. So Q, this needs to be a string. All right, so back over here, we have Q. And so the results need to, so this is going to resolve, we should handle that. It's going to resolve to a promise, not whetherly, or whether our location type as an array. It's going to be a promise of a location type. I don't think that's quite right. So let's just do location type. As an array. I remember writing exactly that just a second ago, and it didn't work. All right, so this is no longer going to work because we don't have a query coming in, so we won't worry about the home page quite yet because that's all being refactored anyway. So we can save this. Then underneath our results, we can return our query and the results. All right, what am I getting here? Weather. Does this need to be a route still? All right, so our results though, we're going to get our Q results. I'm going to, oh, I understand. All right, so let's set this back to index route. This needs to then be index route. I understand now. This is going to equal our index route. We need our Q and our results here. Bring you all the way up because I'm sure I'm going to use you throughout. Use navigate. We're going to we'll want to here put in a place where we can get log our recent location search, but we'll worry about that later. So then we'll have our results array. man. So index route, just so we can keep some like differences. So this needs to be weather Q London. Okay. So instead of data, we want Q and results. This is all stuff I just did. So to do log recent. What else did I not do right? Q results. Give me a second. All right, so then we'll do if there's no query, can return a paragraph, search for a city to see its forecast, and I still will have the search bar. If results length is 0, so no results, we can say return no results found. This can be 4, and we'll do strong Q. So then this should be results. Why is there hourly? We're getting location data. The promise of a location. We're getting, let's go ahead and just log Q results. All right, not found component. Weather, did something change? No, weather is still good. Weather is here. What other type errors do we have? This is not assignable to, maybe I need to restart my server. Results exist. Use loader data. So we have our loader. We're getting our location data. Can I log my Q? All right, something broke and I'm not, so the error says a not found error was encountered in the route with the ID route, which would be this here. But a not found component option was not configured. So if I just do not found component, all right, so back to my friend Claude here. All right, so my weather route isn't working with Q equals London. Oh, I wonder. I don't think that matters. Okay. So asking my boy Claude to help me fix this, because I would like to be able to get at least the search page-ish correct while I'm working on, or excuse me, before I call it quits. Okay, so I didn't get registered in the route tree for some reason. So we need to, oh, so it has to be exported as a constant route. That's good to know. See, we're learning. Create file weather. There's that. We still have, okay, we're good there. All right, so now we have London. We'll need new plus York. That's spelled wrong. So in that case, we could do not found components. Not found. Oh, so it's not even, all right, so let's go back. So it's not the not found. I'm building a, just a prototype weather app for fun. So I'm trying out TanStack Start, trying to really understand the nuances of TanStack Start. So I wanted to find a free open API that I could mess with to get some data rendered and just mess around with how TanStack Start works. So using ShadCN, Tailwind, and obviously TanStack Start and Router. So working with that and trying to make things work. So here we have New York. We could do London now. And I want to handle, so perfect. The search is working. If I don't have anything here, I want it to clear, but first, so Q or an empty string. Oop. Yeah, that's not going to work. All right, so we have our query. Oh, fine. All right, so we're at London. We want to handle, I don't want to handle this in a bunch of places, so we're probably going to turn this into its own component. So let's go ahead and try and do that real quick. Let's do file, custom, search.tsx. So we can take all this junk. So we can actually, let's cut this, export const search, custom search we'll do, custom search. So we'll have our custom search, which needs locations, which will be location type. Import, I'm pretty sure I exported this, so location type. I did not, I guess. Oh, I just copied it over. So let's go ahead and export it because I'm sure I'm going to need it again. So location type from okay, so we've got our location type, then down, why didn't any of these import? Import, import. I need to use state, which I'll take care of in just a second. Import. All right. It's weird the things that import and the things that don't. So cut all that out. Button, input, get rid of these. Okay, then we need our use state. All right, this here. Oh, and then all of this we need as well. We're definitely not heading back to that homepage anytime soon. All right, so then all right, so we're on, this is search. Oh, I made a search component, that's why. Okay, so we're gonna pass in our custom search, we'll pass in our locations. Then here, we'll need locations and locations greater than 0. We can bring this table all into that. Locations. All right, so that makes sense. Why is this an E? All right, that works, I guess. And then I want to do as well for the input. Where is it? We'll do on key down, keyboard event. We can do E key is equal to enter. That's true on submit. So now if I just so I want this to be able to go back to just no results, which would look like this. Oh, well, first, button and input. Oh, import button, import input. So now, don't need any of that. Can I just get rid of the type here? Everything's happy, except that I'm still getting the params. If we go here, no, here, we can get rid of all of this junk, I believe, from container down here. custom search. Then our locations is going to be our locations array. Do that. Nothing shows up. Oh, it's because it's dependent. So here we have our dependencies. So here we're dependent on our search. So if I get rid of that. Oh, okay. So that's not quite going to work like I want it to. I have to rethink that. Oh, that's easy. So no results found, search. So if there's no query, here we just bring in the custom search. And so we need to make in our custom search our locations to be nullable. There we go. So now we have that. The problem though is that that query keeps coming back regardless. But now I can just type in London, hit enter, and I get London. Same would be true for New York or even Dallas. But I don't think I can type in something like Texas. I can, but it's a fuzzy search. So instead of find location, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so find location would be search cities. Because it wouldn't really make sense anyway to search for a state. Search for a city. So then I can do Belfast, whatever. The world is my oyster. I can search for whatever I want here. So then we have all of that stuff, and let's see what Claude can help me with. Do you have the weather route without the query? Param always being added. So while that's figuring that out, we can come back here. And if we go from weather to London, the query still shows up, but I think that's because the weather all right, so if we come to weather, validate search. Oh, we can get rid of all that, make things easier. Let's get rid of this and import that instead. There we go. All right, so now under validate search, string unknown. So we need to change this to make the query optional. Then instead of this, we can do our constant of q to be set equal to, if this is a string, our query there. And then we can return our query if our query exists. If not, we can just return an empty object. Now we need to fix our loader dependencies. Since it's now nullable, we want to return a string if that's the case. We have a constant q, results greater than 2, await location data, yada yada. So now I should be able to get rid of this. Overwriting my weather/city route. All right, so back over here, We don't need this. Log recent locations to the database, which is coming. Don't need this anymore. Locations. Don't need this anymore. Don't even need the query anymore. Is that right? No, we do. Okay, so query. All right, so what else did we get rid of? Navigate, get rid of use state. All right, so that looks a lot neater. This parent route type of weather route. So your weather became a layout parent partner or wraps. When you go to Weather London, the router renders the parent weather, but your route component in weather doesn't render an outlet. So the child, okay. Rename the file from weather, new, nope, rename index.tsx. We're still learning here. We're figuring it out. All right, so we got weather, which comes back empty. We type in London. We get London. Now what I want is for each of these to be able to have a way that I can click into them. I want to keep memory changes. Was that wrong? This? Yes, okay. So strange. All right, New York. I get New York results now. All right, perfect. I'm not too worried about the colors right now. Let's go ahead and do right half. And now I should be able to, if I were to click into this, let's see how far I can get. So we have our search that shows up if there's no query. Can't really clear a query though. I could add a clear button. So if I do a button, clear, I need to add it to custom search. In the field, we can add a clear button. On click, we will navigate to weather. Here we go. Why did the weather app disappear? Oh, okay. So really, I just don't need this here. So if there's no query, I just want the search. All right, so in that case, this actually needs to come. So if I cut this, we go over to our search, and if that's not correct, clear, no results found. Search for a city. We can do class name. I'll do margin top like 8. Search for a city. All right, so then clear. Let's do a variant. What do we have? Ghost. Yeah, why not? And then class name. Perfect. Okay. And then let's just make this like text white. No, not text white. This is fine. It's fine. Okay. So if I type in London here, I get a bunch of Londons. And I clear, I get nothing. If I try to search for nothing, nothing pops up. All good there. So now what we have is, if we have a bunch of New Yorks, is something we do for next time. I'm out of time. All right, so we'll come back to this because I am really enjoying this. So we're gonna do here to do, this is fine, yeah. So add links to individual weather pages. And then I can start working on to do clean up the index page. That will be after that. And then set up SQLite. So let's go ahead and keep some options open here. So I am in SQLite. So I've got the geocoding. Oh, yeah. So add links to, and then render weather and temperature. Include highs, lows, degrees, and degrees Celsius. Highs, lows, degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit. That's going to be that there. I don't think we need anything else from geocoding, so I think we're good. ShadCN, we should be good, but just in case. Components. All right, so did a lot of good work here. Learned quite a bit about how ShadCN works. That's good to know, but then also how TanStack Start works. So we have now a search bar that functions. We have our weather app kind of working, so we can search for stuff. We can show our results in a page. Our index page is trashed right now, so we're gonna have to refactor that next time. And then the next step is, since we're rendering this table, also being able to show off and go into each of the individual weather pages. So all of that's coming up probably the next time I stream. I'll be building again, most likely on Monday. And chances are I will come back to this. I'm kind of bouncing between this and a CRM project I'm working on, so we'll see what happens. But that's it for today's stream. If you liked this, please like the video, share it with others, subscribe so you can get more content like this. I do have a newsletter called Next in Dev. Be sure to subscribe to that. The link is in the description. I also have a course called Payload Essentials, which walks you through from 0 lines of code all the way to a finished payload project. And you can find that on my website, nlvcodes.com, also linked in the description. Or you can just find me on X, nlvogel, not .com, just nlvogel. So all of that's linked in the description. But that's it for this one. I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.